Able to talk?
Yeah.
James,
Yeah.
what did he say to you?
I want me now.
John Venables and Robert Bobby Thompson, a murderous duo so chilling that they make Myra Hindley and Ian Brady look like the Chuckle brothers. Bobby, the more outgoing of the two, was described as a cunning liar, and he loved troll dolls when they were Jolie led before they became mangified. John Venables was described as a quiet boy, but equally crafty with aggressive tendencies. When being told off by teacher Ruth Ryder, she recalls, John began holding his hands across his face in an odd, aggressive manner, as if shielding himself. He put his head to one side and turned away to the class, giggling. Teacher Jacqueline Helm believed he could be disturbed. John and Bobby formed a powder keg friendship with shared hobbies of playground bullying, including calling one overweight boy sumo and clotheslining girls in the playground, as well as truanting and lifting. The boys took James Bulger from the Strand Shopping Centre in Bootle when Denise Bulger was being served in a butcher's. It was a risky abduction, with the boys quickly getting in and out in under 2 minutes. They went on a tragic journey that not even the best crime writer could have scripted. It was a familiar journey to the boys, who truanted often and knew the weird back roads and hiding places. They went along the canal and threatened to throw James in the water. He was picked up and dropped on his head, causing a noticeable graze. They passed many locals on their journey and told different lies to different people, a favourite being that James is John's brother and they're taking him home. They took him to a railway track in Walton, threw enamel paint in his eyes, umbral azure blue, threw bricks and chalkstones at him, pulled down his pants and inserted batteries into his mouth and anus. They hit him with what they described as a big metal thingy with holes in, which was identified in court as a fish plate. He died from blunt force trauma and his body had multiple lacerations. Later on, a train came past and cut his deceased body in half. A train driver thought it was a child's dolly left on the track. The body was later found by a group of school children. They were interviewed for local news and only a few seconds was broadcast due to the teenagers not taking it seriously.
Where 2-year-old James Bulger's body was found. It had been spotted earlier by 4 schoolboys playing.
And as we come out walking, you could just see it there as you looked on the floor, just right there by the little path.
Because I said, it's a baby.
The trial was relatively straightforward, with the boys being found guilty of both abduction and murder. There is so much that is a mystery, including why they did it. One theory is it was kids who wanted to be seen as being tough and adult, and the way to do so was to pick on, humiliate, and ultimately murder someone much weaker and smaller. The real shocker is just how much of it seems premeditated, even down to the route and final destination. I think the actual method of murder was random, with events escalating quickly, drowning being an initial consideration, but maybe the boys lost their nerve. There was mention that they talked about pushing a baby into traffic prior to abducting James Bulger. In all honesty, the way it played out was far worse, almost like some sick playground game gone wrong, with both boys egging each other on to prove themselves as being bad. The murder was so horrific that no adult could have thought of it. The aftermath that followed was frenzied anger. People wanted a public execution. Their identities were changed, and the biggest irony, in juvenile detention, the boys received not only the attention they craved, but a far better education than they would have received under normal circumstances, with both boys successfully completing their A-levels. The boys were released in 2001 and no longer deemed a threat to society after 8 years. Who signed it off? David Blunkett. Well, in the kingdom of the blind. Robert Thompson seems to be rehabilitated and working under a secret identity. John Venables has been arrested multiple times since, twice for the felony possession of child pornography, and he was also charged with cocaine possession. His identity has been leaked a few times since, with arrests being made to the whistleblowers. He's currently in prison, awaiting a parole hearing for the possession of child pornography for a second time. There's been much speculation that he could have possibly been sexually abused as a child, possibly by a family member, which would account for some of his behaviour. After the trial, the judge mentioned video violence, and a slasher sequel in the form of Child's Play 3 got the blame.
Child's Play 3. Look who's stalking.
Chucky, despite being a convicted murderer in a doll's body, does bear the appearance of a child slightly, and blue paint goes in someone's face during a paintball tournament, but that's where the tenuous similarities end. There was zero evidence of John or Bobby viewing this. Nevertheless, the stigma stuck, and Child's Play 3 was withdrawn and branded a video nasty. It's a fairly mediocre film, with a great performance from Brad Dourif and this iconic one-liner,
"Don't fuck with the Chuck!"
This fun film was eventually released on DVD in 2000. There was also Mikey, a 1996 straight-to-video horror about a seemingly nice boy who gets adopted, then murders his foster parents. Bad timing led to this not being released in England, but it passed uncut 18 in Ireland. Despite its budget, it's unnerving and well crafted. Then there's last, and by all means least, Beware Children at Play from Troma, that never saw a UK release. Bear in mind, obscure titles like Stuff Stephanie in the Incinerator, Dead Dudes in the House, and Blondes Have More Guns had VHS releases. Beware Children at Play was overlooked. It's the worst of the trio of films mentioned, with bad makeup effects and acting, but it has a surprisingly downbeat ending. Had it been competently made, it could have been well and truly nasty. Which brings us to Detainment, the 2018 docudrama based on transcripts of John Venables and Robert Thompson in police custody. Despite being nominated for an Academy Award and a ton of controversy surrounding this short film, it really isn't worth your time in my opinion. The original interviews are not only more exciting but more chilling. The film has a largely Irish cast, and in my opinion, nobody pulls off a convincing Scouse accent. Were the cast of Brookside busy?
Where?
Well, it doesn't matter where. He's probably been to the hospital first.
Why?
To take blood from his arm, like they did with you.
They've taken him to try and get him alive again.
A lot of detail was paid to recreating the dialogue, but they missed it in other areas, even down to the clothing looking brand new, more H&M than C&A, or the actor playing John Venables looking too sweet, when the real life counterpart always had the look of dark malice about him. A real disappointment across the board. It's easy to blame a violent upbringing of parental abuse, or growing up at a time and in an environment with limited job prospects and poor schooling, or even childish adolescent fantasies of being powerful, respected, fictional hard men like Rocky, Sonic the Hedgehog, and the Incredible Hulk, which John Venables idolised. In reality, it was two 10-year-old boys who knowingly and arguably unremorsefully took the life of a toddler and span webs of lies to the police and courts. The utter shockwave it sent still being felt today as unjust and unexpected on this, the 30th anniversary of James Bulger's death.
Is it the violence that the TV taught us? I grew up worshipping Charles Bronson, John Rambo, and Chuck Norris.